Hello,
So,
Genesis and Bridget here. We are trying to get fancy, do some fancy things. We're going to be live on. I don't even know what's happening here. Oh no, there we go. You're right.
well, I can plug this in, so it's not gonna
Okay,
feedback.
there we go.
Hello,
Yeah,
people of the internet.
welcome, Internet.
Okay, I should just hold on to this then.
So we're here in Genesis's backyard, co-working, hanging out. And we were just talking about some stuff. My name is Briget Boyle. My face kind of looks like this.
And I'm Genesis Fermin, and my face looks like this.
And we are co-working, hanging out, talking about 90s music, talking about the music industry, talking about all sorts of things.
We have a list here too.
We have a list. We're in a flight path, so you might hear some airplanes. But we are really enjoying getting together, hanging out, working. This past weekend, we produced the 5th chapter of the I Need Space Music Festival, which is a live stream queer music festival on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. It was super rad. We had 6 incredible artists, including Sarah Slayton, Kristen Ford, Emma's Revolution, Eli Wise, Brian Dublin, and Divinity Rocks. And OMG, what a day.
It's a pretty loaded, what's that word? Lineup?
Pretty loaded lineup.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Just checking, can you all hear us out there? If you want to put in the comments that you can hear us, and then maybe where you're tuning in from, that'd be rad. I'd love to see where you're coming at us from. And it was amazing. It's still viewable on our Facebook page, on the YouTube channel, and I think, yeah, those are the 2 places where you can check it out. The Pass the Hat is open till the end of the month, where all the money gets split among the artists, and it's a really cool thing that we've been up to, and the festival is just getting cooler and cooler, and we're looking at some new ways to reformat it a little bit and continue to make it more and more accessible to more and more people. So if you haven't checked out the I Need Space Festival, you can go to the Facebook page right now. Not right now. Wait until we're done talking and then go.
We'll also put the links in the comments after the stream.
Totally. This
Bridget,
Insta thing is kind of
just
weird.
FYI, because you have your headphones on, that microphone is picking up everything.
All right, I'm going to turn it off. Bye, Insta. Okay. Yeah, so we were chatting a little bit about like how in the 90s there were some songs that were written that have basically made it so the artists and songwriters who wrote them can now like completely support themselves and do whatever projects they want because they wrote one hit song. One hit song.
And this kind of the reason how we got into this conversation was I put on there's an alternative pop rock. Here, let me scoot over here. Ride my bike back. There's like an alternative pop rock playlist on Spotify that we were listening to, and we were like, it only takes one song for an artist or a songwriter to really be sustained for the rest of
their lives. Yeah.
And it's something that's, I guess, easily done back in the day, because it's the 90s and the value of music was a lot more respected. And I think looking at where we are as artists today, that might be an uphill battle for us.
Yeah, it could be.
Potentially.
And maybe the path is just a different path. Maybe it's just shifted how, I think if you write like one song that like gets placed in some movie that ends up being a big movie, you could make money for the rest of your life. But like the kinds of like hooky songs that were written in the 90s are kind of amazing. Like you put on No Doubt for like 5 milliseconds, and you know that it's No Doubt,
Yeah.
like, I mean, at least that's my experience of it. Of course, I'm a 90s rocker, so put a little Gwen Stefani on and my little teenager comes out to dance. But like, yeah, songs like Don't Speak, for instance, that one just came up on the Spotify. Like, that one has probably made them millions of
Oh
dollars.
yeah, no doubt.
And like, it's amazing, no doubt.
Yeah.
um, yeah, we were thinking like it'd be fun to kind of brainstorm some like hits from the 90s that are probably sustaining entire generations of of families.
Yeah.
um, like like what? Um,
Well, a good example is Four Non Blondes. What's
right,
up?
right. For instance,
Uh, what else? Well, there's no doubt. We just listened to an Evanescence song.
right? Evanescence. Yep.
I mean, like it's kind of like, are they still around? Is she still alive? Kind of thing. When like, but it's such an iconic song from. I guess it's more like late '90s, early 2000s. That song in
Right.
particular.
Right.
But what another song is Vanessa Carlton's
Oh, if I could fall into the sky.
exactly.
Yeah. Do you think
It
time?
you only need to listen, like you only need to hear the first two, maybe even just like a first note of that song, and you're like,
Oh, that's that song. Yeah.
it's Vanessa Carlton.
Oh, the other one we thought of was Jewel. Like the Who will save your soul?
Right?
Yeah, that one was. I mean, that's definitely like she's still making a pretty penny off of that song. Like monthly checks,
Oh
that
yeah.
cover everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's still possible. I
And
do think it's still possible.
I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Euphoric.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. They're still making beautiful music, and that's what's so fascinating about like people who've actually made it with one song, and still have that joy of like being in the creative process.
Yeah. Well, I think Vanessa Carlton's a really great example. Like, she's still writing a ton of music.
And still playing.
Yeah. And same thing. I think, Gwen Stefani is still super active. I know No Doubt doesn't exist anymore. But
she still pumps out music.
Right. And like Linda Perry, I mean, geez, that woman writes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs a year.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. Linda Perry's doing some really interesting work online. She's got this YouTube series. I haven't actually watched it, but I was on a fireside chat where she was talking about it, where she invites songwriters to come on and share their music, and then she kind of gives them constructive feedback and like whether or not it's like worth, like what would push the song to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so nuts on this fireside chat. It was actually through the Women's Audio Mission, which if you're interested in audio and you identify as female or transgender, Women's Audio Mission is a really incredible organization that you should check out. They offer a lot of different classes and cool little events. They had a fireside chat with Linda Perry that I was on, and it was so amazing. She just like she wrote like 3 different songs while we were on this chat. Like, she was just like talking about the songwriting process, and through talking about it, she was giving examples of like, this is how you start a song, and she'd just like write a song. And it was really it was so, for me as a songwriter, it felt so important to just witness that flow and to see that like, if you have the time and space and mental energy to just allow songwriting to happen,
mm-hmm.
it can happen. And I mean, I know that Linda Perry is in a very different situation than myself. Mm-hmm. And she's definitely like somebody who can write a song and then do a full production of it within like a day. Yeah. But like, it's pretty amazing to witness that sort of creative flow and that creative juice. Yeah, I think, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people in the music industry say, like, just keep writing, like, you'll like write 100 songs and you'll probably get the one that, is really going to be your
defining song for a songwriter or an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, having that one hit or 2 hits or 3 hits, I want to pivot this conversation
Yeah,
with
totally.
the value of music today.
Oh yeah.
Um, you were talking about it earlier how I was comparing. I had a conversation with someone else about like published work. Like if you buy a paperback, you can pay like $15-20 for a paperback, and there's also digital formats like you can get it on Kindle or like audiobooks. And if you pay something like $20-15, it's probably going to be what, $5 less or about the same value like or cost for a paperback versus like buying a CD for $20, and then you have the digital download, which is like probably half of that. So now it's like $10 or
Right.
less.
Right.
And then you have platforms like Spotify and Pandora, where it's like it's not necessarily you own the file after, because it's not, you don't purchase it. You're
Right.
kind of renting the song,
Right.
so to speak,
Right.
right? Um, it's so and it's kind of, it makes me sad that the value of a book is still like, it still holds its value in a digital format,
Right.
whereas in music it doesn't hold the value, because now you're, for per stream it's like a fraction of a penny.
Right. Right. Well, and I think what's interesting is that like the consumer experience of the value of music is not any different than
Yeah,
like the consumer experience and the value. I actually feel like people are more likely and more interested in a paperback book than a Kindle.
i've
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a
I've been buying
presumptuous.
paperbacks.
Yeah, and I think that like with digital music, you know, like the listener experience, like you even get like more like there's more accessibility. It's more like tailored to like when you're working with algorithmic um, programs, like it's more tailored to your, like you're actually as a consumer getting this like epically personalized experience, and then like deeply entertaining experience, and you're paying next to nothing for it. And in fact, it was so funny. I was watching, I don't know if y'all have seen the show Nurse Jackie, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's like I've watched the series I don't know how many times. And there's this one moment where Acolytus learns how to use Spotify. And it's like right when Spotify started. And
Mhm.
so she was like asking these questions of like, so do I own these songs? Or like, is this illegally downloading these songs? Or like it was so funny. And I think since then there's been so much information about like how Spotify works and how artists make like literally fractions of a penny, 0.006 or 0.007 cents per stream. And from a musician standpoint, it does kind of feel like illegal downloading. It does. I mean, I did give consent to like put my music on Spotify because
You
I've been
paid,
told by the industry that like that's what I need to do in order
and
to
you
be
paid
discovered.
to get that music up on the
Exactly.
platforms.
Yeah. I was thinking, wouldn't it be rad if like Spotify actually paid the artists a one-time fee to submit their records? Like, because they need content just as much as we need exposure, and that,
It should be a symbiotic relationship,
right?
really.
It'd be so much more balanced. I feel like there'd be so much better like energetic flow if like the musicians were to submit and get a $15 fee, as if, from Spotify, and then you get royalties moving forward. You get like a one-time payment rather than you having to pay a fee to upload it and use the service. They would pay you because they're making tons of money on your music from and advertising, right?
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I think we should lobby Spotify.
yeah. And the same thing with like, earlier I asked you about SoundCloud. Are you making
Right.
a shiny penny from SoundCloud? Because I noticed that on my SoundCloud page there are ads, and I'm wondering like, where is that money? Who is that money going to? Because it's certainly not me. And you brought up a point of like, are you a pro account user? And I'm not.
Right. Right.
So
SoundCloud's one of those interesting ones. I don't think they pay royalties unless you're like a pro member, which seems a little counterintuitive because you have to really like you have to pay to do the pro thing, but then you have to like promote the crap out of yourself on stream on SoundCloud in order to make money. Yeah, it's funny. So what I've been working on with Waximile and what Genesis and I have been talking about, and some other artists in the Bay Area, we'll be talking about this over the next couple of months, is how can we like sort of disrupt the industry and like start to build different models so that artists are taken care of, and there's just better like there's goodwill being created between like digital services and um, and the artists who fill their product lines, because I mean that's what it is. Like we are literally creating the product for these companies to make money, and so I'm super curious about building relationships with these companies that are are more equitable and more beneficial to musicians, because when it comes right down to it, like music is such an important part of being human.
Oh yeah.
And wouldn't it be great if like great parts of being human were paid?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Let's change the world. What do you say? I'm in.
I'm already in. I've been in.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's
and there's a lot of ways. I mean, it also boils down to the consumer. It's like, as someone, for me, like as someone who consumes music so heavily, like that's also a lot of money.
Yeah.
I want to support every single artist, like but it's like finding where's that balance, where's the balance of like, I can't afford to buy everyone's CD.
Right.
But
like, didn't we I feel like I used to buy a ton of CDs, and I'm like, why did like.
That is true. Yeah, I remember going to like Tower Records.
Oh my god. Tower Records all the time.
Yeah.
Stacks. I still have them, and I'm like, what do I do with these things,
Yeah, like places like Amoeba. Like I remember like I would ditch school. Sorry, Mom. I would ditch school to go to go to downtown Berkeley and just hang out at Amoeba.
Right.
And then come home with a bag full of CDs and cassettes, and it was.
I guess the difference is like it was a one-time purchase. Like maybe now, because there's this like membership, like you can buy a membership to Spotify and have access to any music like that. Like, and we just have for so long been kind of trained out of spending money on individual artists. Like it's like a mind shift. It's definitely like, I think in the 90s there was a mindset of like, in order to get music and listen, and even of course before the 90s, but I'm a 90s kid, so that's what I'm speaking about. Like the mindset was like, if you wanted to listen to music, you either buy it or you get a mixtape from your friend.
Yeah.
So Euphoric here.
I remember the mixtape situation here.
I remember wondering about making sales before I decided to sell my music. For those who can afford, they can support though. Yep, that's it, right? Like, if you can afford to support artists, like, do it. And if you can't, listen to them on Spotify,
Well, and there's another thing, like, you can still show up for the artist, but here's what I do. Like, I once in a while, like, I'll dedicate like a month to like having my phone is on, the volume's all the way down. Spotify is on repeat on a particular album for like a month. While I'm asleep, you're getting the plays.
Yeah.
So that's one way to show up for artists. I mean, we're still getting fractions of a penny, but it
adds up.
It adds up, because then the placement of that record within the list of records in that genre, in that it climbs up.
Yeah.
It helps with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And other ways that you can support artists without spending a shiny penny is sharing their content.
Yeah. Following them on all the platforms.
And encouraging your friends to I am a huge Pedro the Lion fan.
You think?
I am more than happy. Like, I feel like I live my life to like preach the gospel of David Bazan. Like, it's just like, you have to listen to Pedro. You have to listen to Headphones. Like all the bands, like anything that he does, because he's a freaking brilliant man. and that's one way that I can show up for David Bazan for all his projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially during the pandemic, I can't afford to. And plus, I already have all his records.
Right.
So that's another way to show up for artists.
Yeah, and then another thing that you can do that's super simple is like if you see an artist streaming on Facebook, like you don't even necessarily, or on any platform, you don't even necessarily have to like watch them play if you are not in the mood, or if you just want to like, or that's not what you're about to, that's not in your like activity path. But even just like stopping, hitting play on it for a second and just being like, great to see you here, like a comment can be such a great thing for an artist to see on their streams. And like right now, I know so many artists who feel so lonely while they're live streaming because you're basically staring at yourself and like fingers crossed that like somebody cares, and there's no feedback. And so anytime like anytime you have a moment to just like a video or comment on it or like anything, it for me it adds so much to the experience of live streaming. And I think, we're in this weird pandemic thing for quite a long time. I think like that's kind of what a lot of musicians are having to adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we can engage our audiences and let them know how they can support us, even if they don't have the money to like buy our music necessarily, I think that's a really cool way to just engage,
Yeah.
or like sign up for their email list. It's really likely that you're not going to get 100,000 emails from an artist. Most people are like, most artists I know maybe send an email out like once a month at the most. And usually it's like to talk about something rad and I want to hear about it,
And I'm guilty of that because I do have an email list, but I've yet to send. I've only sent one email out, and that was last year.
But like, man, every time somebody joins my email list, it's like my heart flutters and I just feel so grateful. It's like I have this online course. I'm a vocal coach, and I teach this. Hey Jen, yay! I teach this course, and every time somebody signs up for it, it's like you might as well have like brought me flowers. Like it's just it feels so good. And
Better than flowers.
Better than flowers. And you know what else is really nice? Working outside.
Oh yeah.
That's what Genesis and I have been doing today.
Yeah, we should do this more often. Although, I mean, I guess the caveat to the situation is I live at on a flight path. There's an airport nearby my house, so we have a little. I guess we can actually like stick a microphone and start recording airplane sounds.
Yeah, and we can make beats out of airplane sounds.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Airplane song.
Maybe next week we'll premiere 2 weeks premiere an airplane song. Well, we're gonna call it a day. It's been so much fun to hang out on the internet, and hopefully you've had fun with us. This is Wax Wednesdays, which happens every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And so far I had Dillbilly on. I did the first one by myself. No, the first one was us.
Yeah.
First one was us, and then I had Dillbilly, and then I had Kristen Ford, and then us again, co-working in the backyard. Not sure what's going to happen next week, but stay tuned. If you don't already like the I Need Space Festival page, you can go ahead and do that. And I'm Bridget from Waximile.
I'm Genesis from Genesis and I Need Space.
Genesis, not that Genesis.
Yeah.
We love on y'all, and have a great week, and let us know how you're doing as the time goes by.
Aloha for now.